Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you the new updated version of InfraNodus text network analysis and visualization tool that works much better and faster than the one before. The main feature that we introduced through this upgrade is the ability to upload big files. So this is something that's still in the works, but it will be online in 2 or 3 weeks. If you want demo access to it, let me know. So first of all, if we go and try to import a big file, this used to be a very long procedure. It would take some time. For instance, here I have data sets, and I will take a book which is 1.7 megabytes long, and then I can visualize it as a graph. So before it would take maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Now it just takes a few seconds. So it's really quick now to visualize books and bigger amounts of data. Here you can reset the graph to see everything, and what happens next is that you start reading through this text, by deleting the obvious terms that you already understand. So we know that this book is about shadow and night, so we delete this from the graph, move on further. We know it's about time. Okay, go further, and how the body feels. So we can say that these are the main topics: how the body feels, states of lightness and awakeness, making life, creating life. So here are the main topics. We have an overview, and on the inside panel we have the 2 topics that could be connected for an interesting new idea. So we can use this to generate ideas in relation to this text. The next feature is the ability to upload bigger CSV files. So when we go here, we choose a file. I will actually use a data set of the EU grants, so the grants that EU was giving out in the last years. I will take their titles, so I select the column that I want to analyze in this spreadsheet, and then I will use type as the categorization panel. It's also about 3 megabytes file long, and I will use the start date for the timestamp. And what happens now is that it will import all the titles of the EU grants given out in the last years and visualize them as a graph, so we see what they're about. And the way to proceed here usually is to basically start looking at the main terms that appear. So technology, we know that most of the grants will be about technology. Partnership, innovation, these are kind of keywords that we can delete directly because we know that this will be the main topics of this discourse. Then words like for, some strange one, like that shouldn't be there, so let's get rid of for also when it pops up. And then we look at the rest, we see is there anything else that we don't need here. And usually what happens is that you will start, here it's the word and, let's also delete this. What happens is that you start getting clusters of nodes that are distinctly connected together, and these are the topics that exist in this graph. So we see that most of the EU grants were about system, energy, innovative energy systems, climate change, health research, so the impacts of climate change on health and on biodiversity. Then sustainable solutions, so how we can build sustainable solutions, and food production. So we see these are the main topics: energy, food, climate change, sustainability. Once you get this information, you can delete a few more nodes, because what you want to do is to reach here 0.4, which means diversified state. If you click here, you see the explanation of what it's about. When you have a graph that is in diversified state, you have a very nice representation of the key topics that is very clear. So you can delete a few more nodes. For instance, let's look at the words that are there. For this, we can use this filter panel and say that we want to see the nodes for all the degrees. And in the settings, we can also choose to see all the labels for them. So here we see more labels, maybe something else, support, we don't need base. Let's delete this. Let's delete some more words like system, because we know it's about systems. Close this one. Continue to move on to reach 0.4 here. So maybe innovative is kind of like a buzzword. Let's delete it as well. And maybe a few more things. EU can go away. And a few more words. So let's take something like solution, because this is also a buzzword in this context. And one more word, maybe something like this symbol here, which is not supposed to be here anyway. Still not reaching 0.4, so it's also like an exploration game to play. To see what you can remove from the graph in order to really have a nice representation of the ideas inside. So for example, international can go away. Let's delete this. Visualize this again. Smart. Action. We don't need also. And then maybe also to delete some more words like change. And you see when you click on it, you see all the other words it's connected to, so gradually understanding all the different contexts. And maybe development and resilience, because these we know very well. Also get rid of production. And sustainable, because everything is about sustainability anyway. And now we see that the discourse is quite focused on climate change and energy. So these are the two main topics. And if it was not for the climate change, let's see what else would be there. Energy, network, digital impacts, battery design. So this is another topic that we recover through this specific iterative approach to searching through the graph. If we see in which context it's used, so battery design, testing. We see exactly all the statements, all the EU grants that contain those topics. Another feature that I would like to also demonstrate is how you can search through all the graphs. So for instance, I want to see what I wrote about desire. I click search, visualize it here. I see that most of the terms are about men and women. And I see also the context of the graphs where desire appears. So for example, if I want to know what about desire and Evo, where does it appear? Okay, so I see that it exists in this document here, and if I click on it, I will get into this context. If I want to, see some other context, like for instance, here I choose desire and an apple, or desire and the human, or I click on this context and I see that, okay, I want to know about flower and desire. So I see that something exists in this context, in this graph, that is about desire and about flowers. So then I can jump into this graph, into this text, and get to the parts of the text that relate to those two topics together. So as you saw, instead of kind of deciding beforehand what is the specific subject that I'm going to go into, I actually choose a word, desire in this case, and then I jump into that word. I see what it's connected to, and I see that it's connected to flower, so then I will try to open the text which contains this information. And here I can also delete those two, because we don't need them. Just to clean up the graph a little bit, and then to look what are the sentences that contain desire and flower in this particular text. So we see this about human, people, story, Anthropocene, and so on. Let's see, desire and flower. Click on the graph. And here I see the exact part of the text which is talking about flower and desire, right here. And I can read it, I can get what this text is talking about, flowers and desire, a living flower, erotic organ, extinct insect. Okay, so it's pretty full on, but very interesting zoom in on the subject, desire and the animal world. And finally, another great feature is that now you can see all your graphs at once. So you click on top graph synthesis in the menu. It's going to take a long time because it loads all the graphs that you have, and it tries to be precise enough so it can really, see all the data that you have, and then it visualizes you the discourse, so all the words that you use in all your graphs, and also the top graphs that are connected to those words. So which graphs are related to those words that you choose to use in the graphs, in the data, in the texts that you're analyzing. And here I see that, for instance, in my case, I have this one. Actually, there's quite a lot of graphs about innovation and action. I think it's because I was adding this EU grants data, but also time and feel good, for instance. So what is this about? I can click on those terms, and I can see the contexts in which these terms appear. So for example, feel good, let's see, time, what are the other words that it's connected to, support, and so on. So I can really explore how my text is moving, and I'm seeing all this data also selected here. If I want to go into one of those graphs, so for example, I'm interested in this one that is quite on the periphery, but it's connected to some of the nodes, like let's look, water, region, including base, product. So I can click on product and water. And then I click on this graph, and I jump into this graph exactly at this place of product and water. Well, unless you're not logged out, like I am in this case, but I'm going to log back in and get back into this graph and visualize all the data. I think it logs you out after an hour, so you have to renew your license every time. Now, I will see what it is about water and product that exists in those charts. Water, product. Click. Okay, so product, water. We see here all the different products that contain water. This is how you jump between the different graphs, so this can be maybe interesting for you to explore. Let me know how it works. If you would like to run a demo of it, please do. Let me know your email and username, and I will give you premium access to it so you can play around with it. Note that it's still in beta version, so there might be bugs, but if you notice them, just let me know and we will fix them. And also, if you need any features as well, please let me know how we could implement them. If it's something you know specifically and we can build it, it's also pretty fast to add. All right, thank you very much.